Rita, thank you. Hello, welcome to Monday's Look North. Our top story tonight. Concerns over the impact of escalating energy prices on businesses as autumn approaches.
You can't plan, so you can't structure the next year financially because you don't know what your energy bill is going to be.
Well, we'll hear from a number of businesses and ask what can be done to help. Also tonight, with a new school term on the horizon, a charity providing uniforms says demand has never been so high. As Leeds United thump Chelsea, we look back at some of the highlights of the weekend's football action. And saved from the scrap heap, skateboarders in North Yorkshire welcome the restoration of their much-loved ramp.
And a mixed week of weather to come. I'll be back later in the programme with all the details of that and a quick look ahead to the bank holiday weekend.
Hello, thank you for watching. First tonight, businesses across our region have told Look North they're struggling to stay afloat because of the rising cost of energy prices. Shops, pubs and restaurants have closed down largely because their costs have gone through the roof. There's no energy price cap for businesses as there is for domestic customers. And the picture doesn't look rosy for the year ahead either. A survey by the Federation of Small Businesses has found that over half of small firms expect their business will stay the same size, downsize or close in the next 12 months. The majority say their costs are higher than they were a year ago, with fuel going up 25% and utilities rising by 27%. Our correspondent, Spencer Stokes, has been speaking to businesses already hit by those rising energy prices.
Here in the walls you see the history of the pub. That's all the previous landlords going back to 1816, trace it back to 1811. And this is the main bar where everybody sat. And this was like every Monday, Wednesday night, there'd be 100 people in there doing quizzes.
After 8 years as a landlord, Brian is throwing in the towel. Energy costs at this city centre pub have rocketed from £900 a month to £2,500 a month. So a very difficult step has been taken. Hand the business back to the brewery and walk away.
It gets to the stage where it's almost laughable. You just get your bill in and you go, what, we can't do that. And we looked at trying to keep it going for the autumn. We looked at trying to get the Christmas trade. We said, OK, well, what do we do? Do we borrow money, keep us going and hope for a good trade? And then we just decided, no, like if we borrow money, we're going to end up in debt with that loan and probably not trade sufficiently to get the profit to pay costs.
To cease trading raises bigger questions about the state of the economy and business resilience in the face of the energy price surge. But a few streets away, others are considering closure after a 40% cost increase.
If it carries on like this, if something doesn't drastically change in a year's time, I don't think we'll have this physical shop. We probably continue to trade online, but I think a physical shop in a year's time with the increase in costs, if they carry on increase as well, like we're seeing further energy costs and further increases during the year, in the next year, in a year's time, I don't think we'll be here.
Some costs can be passed on, but there's a limit to how much extra customers are prepared to pay. This pub has seen its energy price rise by 127%. It's something they're having to absorb.
When we looked at our rate increase for utilities, that was £25 a night on top of our normal daily rate for an accommodation for one night. Our customer's not going to pay that. So you can say push it onto the customer, but actually in a time where their pocket's already, pinched, it's where do you put that? And it's really challenging to see where the consumer will happily kind of pay that money out.
With chiller cabinets, fridges and freezers, farm shops are energy hungry. This one has been hit by a threefold increase in energy supply costs, so it's closing. From September, it'll be online only.
We've all grown up working here, and it's just been devastating, really. We never expected this to happen. We were hanging on, trying to get a better quote, thinking that the government might step in and do something. And then when the quotes did come through, it's just such a short period of time to sort everything out. So we really don't have any choice but to close. It's a lot of extra money per year and we don't have it.
Far from being a year of post-COVID recovery, 2022 has served up a fuel price shock, one that will tighten its grip in the months ahead. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, York.
Thank you, Spencer. Well, Merowyn Sayers is from the Federation of Small Businesses in Leeds. She told me this is a very worrying time.
We won't know the full damage until businesses come off their fixed tariffs. Businesses have fixed tariffs, and until those end and they start shopping around for for new tariffs, will they know what the real problem will be? I think there's a lot of worries, and it's not just the energy prices that are going up. There's all the other costs of running a business that are going up and putting more pressure.
We saw in the report there the pub which can't plan, the farm shop which is going to close as well. Are they symptomatic of other businesses telling you similar things, that you can't really go forward at the moment because nobody knows, there's no certainty in their market?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been frozen in fear, isn't it? That it's just been a world of doom for the last couple of years, and the fear of being able to continue. The smaller businesses, the very smaller, have even increasing problems to be able to do it because they don't have the bargaining power of the larger organisations. They're also very much similar to the residential market, that they don't know how to bargain with the businesses.
I suppose cash flow is potentially a problem as well, isn't it?
Yes, cash flow's king, isn't it? To be able to have that money coming in and know that you're able to pay those bills going forward. And it's not something that small businesses are confident they can do at the moment.
Should there be, do you think, some kind of energy cap for the business market alongside domestic customers?
Yeah, the FSB are wanting parity with the domestic market. They want a price cap, maybe something, a rebate through the system may be helpful for them, or a reduction in VAT or other taxes to be able to help businesses to be able to afford the costs.
And ultimately, the businesses who do survive, presumably they're going to be passing those costs, those increased costs on to the likes of you and I as well. So that makes our costs even more.
Absolutely. All these costs that are going up, they're just going to inflate all other costs, which passes on to the end user at the end of the day anyway.
Briefly, Merywyn, do you fear businesses may go to the wall this winter?
Unfortunately, that will be the case. There will, of course, be others that boom and survive, but yes, the world of business, there will be people that go under as well as people succeed.
OK, well, thank you for coming in and sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you.
Merywyn Sayers talking to me a little earlier on. Next tonight, a Yorkshire charity which collects and redistributes school uniforms says demand has never been so high. Uniform Exchange gave out 3,500 school uniforms to children in Kirklees last year, stopping the clothes going to landfill and helping families at the same time. And it's no surprise that families are using organisations like this with some of the eye-watering costs involved. Now, it's estimated that the average primary school uniform cost per child is £315. Parents of secondary school pupils are paying, on average, closer to £340. One charity estimates that 780,000 children are wearing school clothes that don't fit them properly because parents can't afford to keep buying new ones. In a moment, we'll hear from an expert on what you can do to cut down on costs. But first, Mark Ansell has more.
Hi Vicky. Hello. Hi Bertie. Hi Sheena. More donations from school.
The latest donations dropped into Uniform Exchange in Huddersfield. Bertie set up donation boxes at his school for students to give their old uniforms. It's cleaned at the Salvation Army in Mirfield and then brought here.
Not only is it helpful to the environment, but it just helps families who need the uniform anyway, who can't afford it. So not only does it help the planet, but it also helps the community. So it's a win-win for everybody.
I'm exceptionally proud of Bertie that he's gone in and he's really highlighted the benefits of the Uniform Exchange charity, but also he's promoting that partnership that the Salvation Army are working with them so that we can reach more people and reuse and recycle.
The charity was set up 11 years ago, with uniforms costing up to £350, coupled with the cost of living crisis. Demand has never been so high.
Having a uniform is a sense of belonging, and it's nice to be part of that community and part of that school, to be one of many. But also, school uniform is well made and it lasts. So if you can get a good school uniform, then that lasts for the year.
Tara has 5 children and has benefited from receiving uniforms from the charity. She's now a volunteer because times are tough for so many, including her.
5 kids get hungry, so my shopping bill, is slowly creeping up. Like I said, I am quite good at planning, but it doesn't matter how much planning you do with the prices going up all the time. I am worried that the money that we've got coming in is only going to go so far, and high school uniforms are just so expensive. I just wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Recycling uniforms, better for the purse and the planet. Mark Ansell, BBC Look North, Lockwood in Huddersfield.
Well, many of us will be out, no doubt, school uniform shopping over the next week or so, but with the cost of living crisis, many parents may find this much harder. Well, an old friend of ours, Kate Hardcastle, a retail expert, and has some useful advice, hopefully. There is a new law coming out to help protect parents from having to go out and buy branded school uniform. Kate, do you think that will make any difference at all?
Yeah, I think there's three parties in this. There's us as consumers and the changes we can make. There's the schools being aware that it can be a very challenging time, particularly August for parents, when there's all those back to school messages. Indeed, research last week said that 3/4 of parents always feel that urge to go and buy new. Well, we don't always have to do that this time of year. But of course, for the schools themselves to help understand what we can do and the companies involved in production. So I think there's a three-way pyramid to this in that we all need to put into better practice, which will help in terms of the cost of living, sustainability, and take some of the pressure off those parents.
It's always a tricky time, especially if you've got more than one child. So you've got, say, 3 children in school. You've got to get lots of uniforms. Are there enough deals out there? Is there enough consumer choice, essentially, do you think?
There's always a deal to be had, and we've tested and road tested lots of different uniforms, and actually some of the general pieces like polo shirts will wear just as well when they're a value brand. I think things like school shoes, it's important to get the fit right, to make sure that perhaps you go and speak to an expert. But for every parent out there, there's the concern of what to do, and I think some of that is making sure you buy to your budget, taking the pressure off by maybe speaking to other parents. How might you be able to reuse by using the ages of your children and passing on if looked after well? And a lot of it is about the care, Phil. You know, things like not tumble drying uniform can put many extra weeks on it because actually some of these man-made fibres need treating differently. Well, that's great as well because it's better for cost of living if we're not using the tumble dryer. So I think it's just about education. But more than anything, I think for schools, when you click on the uniform page, to actually have a message that doesn't just direct you to a retailer, but says, look, we understand, we want your children to be in uniform. If you can't afford, if you need some help, these are some places to go, and to drive awareness and services to those charities and that recycling scheme would be a huge help for many parents.
Is it worth parents also looking at maybe buying oversized clothes? Because kids obviously grow very quick. We all remember days where we bought a new uniform and it sort of doesn't last that long because kids obviously grow at quite alarming rates these days, don't they?
It's about encouraging the children to look after it, not just throwing it off at the end of the day, not washing it all of the time. If you are buying new, buying bigger sizes, but buy out of season. The whole trick to buying well in retail is buy when the demand isn't there. So right now is peak season. So just go back into the wardrobe and see if you actually need to replace everything right now. Even if you get a few more weeks or months, it's going to help you budget-wise.
And we heard there, didn't we? It is a huge expense. Is there any way around that, sort of mitigating that expense, do you think, other than going to recycled clothes?
I mean, speak to your friends, see what you might be able to swap amongst yourselves, go and revisit what's in the wardrobe and see if actually you can get some more usability out of it and look after the things you've got. Better for the planet and better for purse. Do speak to the schools though, because I think the more parents that have conversations about the fact they need that support, the better it will become, so everyone can have fair chance to be able to provide what's needed for their children.
Yeah, making that call early. Kate, thank you for coming in. Some good advice there. Nice to see you. Much appreciated. Thank you. You're watching Monday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. Promotion for the Keith League Cougars. Rugby League's championship awaits after an unbeaten League One season. OK, let's get some news in brief from today. GPs in 3 cities in Yorkshire will be able to prescribe walking and cycling to patients. Leeds, Bradford and Doncaster have all been chosen to be part of a government trial where GPs can refer patients to walking and cycling schemes across the county. The trial will look at the impact the exercise has had on patients' mental health.
And the chances are that people will be visiting the GP for perhaps chronic illnesses, but for the GP to not just be able to say, why don't you try going for a walk or why don't you try cycling? It's here you can find out where the lead walks are, where the safe routes are, where you'll be accompanied, where you'll be nurtured and supported and encouraged to walk and cycle. That's the difference.
A man who abandoned 3 pythons in a bin outside a school has been banned from owning reptiles for 7 years. The snakes were rescued after a passerby spotted one hanging from the bin in Sandybed Lane. 35-year-old Samuel Thomas Newton from Scarborough was sentenced at the town's magistrates' court today. He was fined £623 and said it was the rising cost of food and heating that had prompted him to abandon the creatures. A permanent memorial to a pioneering aviator has finally been installed at the site where he lost his life in 1917. Roland Ding was working as a test pilot at Blackburn's aircraft factory in Leeds when the plane he was flying crashed in the Oakwood area. A memorial was revealed to local residents yesterday by his grandson.
Into League One, and George Byers put Sheffield Wednesday a goal to the good 10 minutes before half-time away at Bolton. 2 minutes later, skipper Liam Palmer doubled their lead, the perfect way to celebrate his 350th Wednesday appearance.
Every time I get to pull on that shirt, it's an honour and a privilege, and hopefully that shows in my performance and the way I conduct myself on and off the pitch. You know, I'm representing the club, and it's a club that's, like I say, it's all I've ever known, and it's given me everything I've ever wanted.
Doncaster Rovers remain unbeaten in League Two, but had to come from behind to beat Salford. Kyle Hurst getting his first goal in senior football. The summer signing from Birmingham City then won it for Rovers. That's 3 wins from their opening 5 league matches. Bradford took an early lead away at Hartlepool when Scott Banks cashed in. After the home side levelled, Andy Cook's outstretched leg put the Bantams back in front. And it was Cook who produced this tasty finish to seal the points for Bradford.
Well, Keighley Cougars have been promoted to Rugby League's Championship. They've gone unbeaten in League One all season and have gone up with 2 games to spare. They sealed it with a 48-18 win away at Doncaster over the weekend. Well, I'm delighted to say that we're joined by head coach Rhys Lovegrove and captain Jack Miller. Rhys, a fabulous season you've had on the pitch. What's been the secret to it?
Probably the bond between the players, if I'm honest. I think it's something we really look at quite in depth, don't we? It's about the stories that everyone can individually bring to the organisation, and it's been a really good journey so far, just getting to know the playing group and developing those connections between the players, and then working using those connections to make sure they train hard and compete at training, and then they sort of take care of themselves once they get on the field. So it's been pretty good so far.
I guess it is important that you enjoy being with each other, isn't it? Particularly at that level of rugby league.
I think at this level of rugby league, the big thing is in being galvanised and enjoying coming to training. I think we spoke about it a few times before. I've just been on about it in studio. I don't think I've ever been in a playing group that's been as tight-knit as we are. So it's a real plus when you're that tight of a playing group and you put on performances like we did yesterday and like we have done all year. So it's a credit to the lads, yeah.
To go up unbeaten is fantastic, but the club is not just about what's going on the pitch, is it? Over the past couple of years, the work that's gone off it to grow the crowds, to be a part of the community is a real feel-good story.
Yeah, we always said that what you see on the pitch was just the tip of the iceberg of what the club was actually about. It's really important that we represent Keighley the way we believe that it should be represented, and then we give the opportunity for the community to get down on a Sunday and enjoy what sport should be about, which is about family and getting down there and getting a break from your 9 to 5 during the week and having a crack down on the weekend and having a beer and a pie or whatever floats your boat. And it's been really engaging. It's been really easy for us to do our job knowing that we're part of a bigger picture and part of a bigger journey within the club. So it's been really exciting to do that.
And it must be lovely for the players to get bigger crowds, because you're up to a couple of thousand, which in League One's a huge amount of crowds, but also to feel a part of the town.
I think it's a testament to town. They've come and supported us in numbers all year, and crowds are, like I said, they've grown and grown and grown all year. So they're like an 18th man, and it's galvanised the community as well. It's not just about as a rugby league team. Like I think we're at the tip of the iceberg, but it's really galvanised the town what we've done this year and bringing success to town, not just as a rugby team, you know.
And I think I'm right in saying that you were the first club to have a gay pride match. You've got the badge on you, so it's a really inclusive club, isn't it? It really is doing good things.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like we've got Ryan and Cowie, I believe, the first gay couple that have owned a rugby league club, and we always said we always made it probably a little bit smaller than the bigger picture that some people might think it might be. We always spoke about the opportunity to create a space for players to ask questions that they might have been otherwise a bit scared to ask, and Ryan and Cowie are pretty good like that. We have some pretty good discussions there, and whether it's about BLM or about gay rights or anything like that, we're pretty open when it comes to our discussions at training, and we always want to make sure that it's more about just being a footy player. It's about being growing young men and being good fathers and boyfriends and good colleagues at work.
You're clearly doing a fantastic job. Thank you both for coming in, because I know you have day jobs as well, but many congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you very much.
We'll stay on the sporting theme because we're going to talk about skateboarding now, because a market town in North Yorkshire has become the unlikely focus of the international skateboarding community. It comes after stars from the sport intervened to save an iconic ramp in Norton Skate Park. The enormous half pipe had fallen into disrepair and was set to be scrapped. But after an outcry from skateboarders around the world, it's now being restored, as Kathy Killick reports.
Stunts like these don't come easy. They take a lot of practice and a lot of messing it up. But thanks to a £50,000 refurbishment and a hard-fought campaign to get it, Norton Skate Park now has state-of-the-art ramps lined with Skatelite. A high-tech surface from the States that makes it a lot less painful.
I think it's amazing. I really like it. I would definitely come back.
Really, really good, because when it was mesh before, when you come off, it really hurt, but the smooth surfaces, it just makes you slide a bit better.
The skaters are already pretty happy, but the jewel in the crown will be this big bad boy, an enormous half-pipe being lovingly restored. It's one of only 9 in the UK and the only one in the north that's outside and free to use. When it looked like it was a goner 18 months ago, an international social media outcry saved it from the scrap heap. It should be rideable in September.
I'm ecstatic for it. I mean, my little brother's, 15, and he's never had a chance to ride that. And obviously the first thing he said to me was, when's it going to be fixed, because I want to ride it. There's kids from all over are going to travel just to ride that half-pipe. And it's going to be brilliant to see the community have something that not a lot of communities have.
The half-pipe was saved thanks to the campaigning vision of Ryan Swain, a passionate skateboarder who rode the half-pipe as a boy and couldn't bear to see it moulder. He must have learnt persistence learning these tricks, because he badgered the council for over a year till they agreed to help.
I'm proud of myself, but I'm also proud of the campaigners that have supported me along the way with the campaign, and the entire town really, because it's been a real community effort and people have backed it and supported it from all over. So yeah, it's brought people together, and that's what it's about really. I'm a big advocate for action sports, and I believe that this year things are going to get bigger and better, and obviously once we get the half pipe fixed, then who knows, Malton and Norton could produce the next Olympic gold medalist.
Nothing like aiming high, and just so you know, no one was hurt in the filming of this report, though we had some near misses. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North, Norton.
Yeah, collision avoided there, I think just about. Do you know, the one thing was missing to see Kathy on one of those bad boys. That would have been nice.
Maybe that's for the late bulletin.
Maybe.
With knee pads and elbow pads.
The big question is it going to be skateboarding weather over the next few days?
Oh, very good. Well, they might get a bit sweaty over the next day or so because it is going to be warm. But it's going to cool down as the week goes on. A bit of a mixed bag of weather this week. We'll get on with the details in just a moment. Let's have a look at some of the photos that have been coming in over the weekend, because we did have some sunshine, particularly yesterday. Here's the sunshine in Knaresborough. The second picture, some lovely colours with the sun low in the sky at Rye Hill on Saturday. And actually we had lots of pictures around this time. It was yesterday evening, which brought some lovely colours. And then the third picture, a beautiful carpet of heather underneath cloudier skies near Goathland today. You can keep your pictures coming in to the Weather Watchers page, bbc.co.uk/Weather Watchers. You can tweet me at Keely Donovan, or I'm on Instagram, Keely.Donovan. So yes, a mixed bag of weather, but it is going to be quite warm and humid in the short term. Tomorrow looks like a warm day with variable, often large amounts of cloud, and there will be a few showers in the mix as well. And then a lot of uncertainty about the middle part of the week. Cold front sinking southwards. At the moment, it looks like it will be cloudy with outbreaks of rain for most of the day on Wednesday for our part of the world. Then a ridge of high pressure builds in for Thursday, and it could well last for much of the weekend as well. Quite a lot of cloud around through this afternoon. It's spreading from the west, accompanied by outbreaks of rain. The rain has been heavier in places, particularly over the Pennines, and it will continue. It'll linger at least for the first half of the night before tending to clear away through the second half of the night, leaving just the odd shower behind and a little bit of patchy mist and fog. But that won't linger too long into tomorrow morning, and another mild night to come. Temperatures down to around 15 or 16 degrees. Let's take a quick look at those high water times then in Filey at 2:27, at 2:20 in Scarborough. So I think we'll get off to a bit of a cloudy, misty start, and we'll keep a fair amount of cloud through the day. So variable, often large amounts of cloud, thick enough for a few light showers, but equally there'll be some breaks in the cloud at times to allow some sunnier spells, but the emphasis on more cloud as we head through tomorrow. And even though there will be a few showers, a lot of dry weather too. Warm with temperatures slightly above average, 22 to around 24 degrees. As we move into Wednesday, the details may change, but at the moment it looks like a band of rain will sink southwards. South Yorkshire may hang on to the sunshine until into the afternoon on Wednesday. Thursday, a ridge of high pressure means a lot of dry and settled weather, a bit more cloud around on Friday, and then generally fine as we head through the day on Saturday. Phil?
So it looks like a decent bank holiday weekend, other than Monday, of course.
Yeah, increasing risk of showers on Monday for the actual bank holiday.
That's as far as you go. Care to join me tonight at 10:30?
Oh, that would be lovely. It's a date.
We'll see you then. From Keely and I, have a good evening. Good night.